Here are 5 reasons why Rolex is...
Aren't you wearing a Rolex right now?
Okay, that's better. I've got on what Nico would say is a
got there.
watch, a Casio.
Casio is got there.
Anyway, let's get into it.
Reference?
This is a DBC 611G. For any of you wondering, it's a Casio that has the calculator on it. The first reason why Rolex is terrible, it is a trash brand, is the AD games and the waitlist. Basically, if you've ever gone into an authorized dealer and AD, you can't get the watches. You're put on an imaginary waitlist. You're not even given the chance. When you walk in there, if you bring up the word Rolex, you're almost spat on at the thought. You're talked down to, and you're almost felt like you need to show off and kind of prove your worth to spend $10, $20, $30, $40,000 in a store. And in some of these ADs, they want you to buy brands like Omega, they want you to buy some other brands, jewelry, things like that, to then become a customer, to then show that you're loyal to them, to then have the chance and the ability to actually buy more of these watches. So that is the first reason why Rolex is a terrible, terrible brand. The second reason why Rolex is a terrible brand is the fact that there are so many fakes out there. And what this does is it makes buying on the secondary market so much harder, especially if it is a private sale, especially when you can't actually get your hands on the watches or even try them on in an AD in the first place. Now look, one of the issues with all the fake Rolexes out there is when you actually do put on a Rolex and people find out that you are wearing a Rolex, the first thing that they ask you is your Rolex real? So the fact that there are so many fakes out there, people just assume that you're wearing a fake watch in the first place, which almost defeats the purpose of wearing a Rolex in the first place. So the third reason why Rolex is a terrible, terrible brand is you're paying for the brand. You're paying for that crown. You're essentially just paying for that logo. If you were to take the same price point, throw it into a Tudor, throw it into an Omega, you're going to get a very good quality watch. You're going to get something that is built essentially in-house. You're going to get really good finishing. You're going to get a really good watch. When it comes to a Rolex, you're essentially paying for the logo and that brand. How many Rolexes do they make a year? They make about 1 million Rolexes a year. So it isn't by any chance a boutique or bespoke watch being made. When you get to something like Omega make around 500,000 watches a year. And Adrian, I'll actually link his video up here, actually breaks down just how big Rolex is in the watch game. So when you're buying a Rolex, you're not buying a unique bespoke piece. You are buying something that is just mass produced in a factory. Millions of them are made a year. The fourth reason why Rolex is a brand is that they're very boring, they're very conservative. When you look at the likes of the big 3, they've got grand complications, they've got great finishes, and you end up with a piece that does have that love, attention, care, and detail put into it. When it comes to a Rolex, they are essentially a tool watch, and they are just a very flashy chunk of metal on your wrist. What's the most complicated Rolex? So the Sky Dweller is the most complicated Rolex, and when you compare that to the big 3 and their grand complications, it's just no competition. When you have a look at what Rolex has in their catalog, when it comes to design-wise, when it comes to their complication, it just doesn't stack up compared to what the competition has. Looking at Tudor, which is essentially like their little brother to Rolex, Tudor pushes the boundaries with the heritage looks, pushes the boundaries when it comes down to materials. Everything that Tudor is doing is really at the edge and the forefront of watch technology. And this makes something like Tudor feel more lively, youthful, and exciting to put on the wrist. Now, lastly, the fifth reason that Rolex is a garbage brand is that it puts a target on your back. Over in London, if you put on a luxury watch, if you've got a Rolex, if someone gets a glimpse of the crown, they're going to snatch it off your wrist by force. Now, this puts you in a precarious situation where you're going to have a watch that you like, a watch that you want to wear, but you're not able to actually wear it out. You're going to have it covered. You're going to be scared to actually take it out and show it off because you're worried that someone might steal it. Why would you want to spend tens of thousands of dollars to buy something that you can't actually wear and show off and enjoy? Now, I've spent the last 5 minutes on Rolex. Now, this doesn't mean that I hate the brand. This doesn't mean that I'm not going to buy one. I've already got one. Rolex is the quintessential luxury brand. Sure, there are readily available watches, but they just don't feel the same as a Rolex. And yes, there may be watches with more beautiful finishes and better complications, but like I said, they're just not a Rolex. When it comes to Rolex, it is the king of luxury. It is the king of watches. It does have its drawdowns. Drawbacks? drawbacks. Yes, it does have its drawbacks when it comes to actually acquiring them and the ownership of a Rolex, but overall, it is the watch that the people that aren't in the watch space think about when they think about a watch, and it is what every watch collector has in their collection. So anyway, that wraps... Stop it. So anyway, that wraps up the 5 reasons why Rolex is a terrible brand and why I still would add more Rolexes to my collection. If you like this video, scroll down there, hit up that subscribe button, also hit up the like button. Also drop a comment down below why you think Rolex is a terrible, terrible watch brand and what Rolex you have in your collection. And that's all I've got for now. Until next time.